الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. हमारी गुफ्तगू चल रही है. Sorry, we've been doing this. This is English lesson. I've forgotten about that. This is about derived nouns. We've been going through اسم الفاعل, اسم المفعول, اسم الظرف, اسم الآلة, اسم الصفة. Today we'll talk about اسم التفضيل. Just a quick recap of what we have done so far. So you know there are 6 categories of ثلاثي مجرد, triliteral verbs. باب ضرب نصر سمع فتح كرم and حسب. These are the representative verbs from those scales which we find normally in Arabic language. And اسم الفاعل is on the scale of فاعل, except for باب كرم, which is a lazim bab, lazim being intransitive, where the doer and the verb together constitute a complete sentence. It does not need any external agent, any object to bring about the action. So action does not need any external object to manifest itself. So lazim or intransitive is the term used for such verbs. And bab karuma is from that group out of the 6. The doer comes on the scale of fa'il, kareem. That is why it is highlighted here. Anyway, so ismul fa'il, fa'ilun. So you would have nasirun from bab nasara, for example. Sami'un. Okay, the tafniya would be nasiran, nasiruna. Nasiratun is mu'annas. ناصرتان تثنية مؤنث الناصرات جمع. And اسم المفعول is again on the scale of مفعول مضروب منصور. Now مكروم, since this is a lazim bab, intransitive, it does not take مفعول. It shouldn't, because it doesn't need it. The action is done by the doer itself in such a way that it does not need any external agent to carry out the action. For example, eating. If you want to eat something, you can't eat unless there is an object that is to be eaten, something that is edible, or something in your mouth you put, or the water you keep in your mouth to drink. The action of drinking, the action of eating cannot exist without something being eaten or drunk. Okay, so this is why an object is needed for the action to be had. Unlike the lazim bab, where you just stood up, someone stood up, Qama Zaid, Zaid stood up. To stand up, you do not need anything other than yourself doing that action. So since bab karuma or lazim babs do not need a maf'ul, in fact they can't have it unless there is a preposition attached to it to make it work like that. They do not have maf'ul. They do not have object. مفعول منصور اسم المفعول. So منصوران منصورون منصورة منصورتان منصورات. Again, they are time unbound. That is why there's no first or second or third person, but they are applicable to all 3. And then we did a ظرف on the scale of مفعل. So مكتب مكتبان مكاتب. مكتبة مكتبتان مكاتب. Plural is same for both. Then we did آلة مفعل مفعلة and مفعال. 3 scales. So مضرب مضربان مضارب. مضربة مضربتان مضارب. Simply both. And then مضراب مضرابان and مضاريب. Then we did اسم الصفة, which can be on different scales. فعيل is one of those. فعول, فعلان, and فاعل itself, if there is an attribute, for example, صادق, the truthful, عادل, the just, جاهل, ignorant. Okay. غضبان, angry, تعبان, tired, فرحان, happy. and they tend to be غير منصرف. Diptotes cannot take tanween, cannot take kasra. That's what diptote means. فعول, جهول, صدوق, كسول. Kasul is lazy. Jahul is from jahil, so ignorant, illiterate. Saduq, truthful. Fa'il, as we just saw from lazim, you get that scale. Same as the situation here for ismu sifa. Sa'id, qalil, salim, rahim, kareem. And then we looked at the scales of asma sifa, which indicate color or any defect. Color or defect. Ahmar, red. Aswad, black. Abyad, white. Azraq, blue. Akhdar, green. Asfar, yellow. And the feminine are hamra on the scale of fa'ala, af'al, fa'ala, af'alu, fa'la'u. حمراء, سوداء, بيضاء, زرقاء, خضراء, صفراء. And plural for both come on the scale of فعل. Remember عين الساكنة here. فعل, حمر, سود, بيض. But because of kasra is the right sign for a ya, you change that dhamma into kasra. Means ya would go with kasra, as waw would go with dhamma. So buydun fu'lun, buydun is difficult to pronounce. So Arab would change it into bidun, zurqun, khudrun, sufrun. And the physical defects, they come on the same scale, af'al, fa'ala, and fu'lun. Asmam, it was asmam, af'alu, asmamu, af'al, asmam. But you know when two letters of the same kind are together, you just merge them, idgham, and put a shad, tajdeed sign on them. And the first one of those would be silent, sakina. Second one would be active. And obviously, if that first one was supposed to be sakin, and your fa kalima, af'al, so ayn and lam kalima here is same. So the ayn kalima has to be sakina, then fa is already sakina. So you can't have that. That is why the harakah on ayn before making it sakin gets transferred to fa. So asammu, asmamu becomes asammu, and mim and mim gets together, merged together. Asammu, samma, fa'la, and fu'lun, summun, a'ma, amya, umyun, atrash, deaf, tarsha, turshun, akhras, kharsa, khursun, them again. Abkam, bakma, bukmun, a'raj, arja, urjun, ahdab, hadba, hudbun, ahwa, hawra, حور, أعور, عورا, عور, فدجال, أعور, أعين, so أعين, big-eyed, عينا, or عين, حور, عين, عين becomes عين, like بويض, yeah, because of kasra is the sign that goes with yeah. Ismu tafdil. The elative is a noun that expresses the excess of a quality in a thing in comparison to another thing. In English, we call it comparative degree. 3 degrees of, there's normal degree and then comparative degree, and then there is superlative degree. So superlative would come afterwards. So this is comparative one. So except for nouns denoting colors and defects, which we've already seen, all other nouns denote the elative are on the scale of af'alu. So remember this af'alu we just covered, that was used to denote colors and defects. Yeah, asmam, a'ma, akhdar, abyad, all those were colors and defects. Other than that, the superlative or comparative degrees are both on these on this particular scale. أفعل, أفعل. So صعب. صعب means difficult. To make it more difficult, you would say أصعب. أفعل أصعب. كبير, big. أكبر, bigger. قليل. أقلل, أقلل, like أصمم. So what happened? Your ayn kalima is lam and your lam kalima is lam. So two lams together and you have to merge them. The first lam would be sakina, second would be mutaharrika. So you can't pronounce two sakina together. Fa kalima is sakina already. Ayn you are making sakina now because of same letters. What you do? You transfer the sign on ayn kalima to fa kalima. In this case, which is from lam to qaf. So aqlal becomes aqal. And two lams. Aqal. Qalil, aqal. Kathir, akthar. Shadid, ashdad. Again, ashdad. So what would happen? You put two dals together with a shad. First dal is sakina, second one is active. You put the harakat of dal onto sheen. So ashdad becomes ashad. Hakim, ahkam. Alin, a'la. Okay. And then there's a paradigm. So if you take akbar, akbar is singular form. So tathniya akbaran. And jama akbarun. And there's jama mukassar as well. Akbarun is salim. Akabir. Akabir is jama mukassar. And kubra, kubrayan, and kubrayat. Jama salim. Kubar, jama mukassar. Kubar. Remember kubar. Don't confuse this kubar with fu'lun, kubrun. Okay. In the colors, khudrun. Okay. The ayn kalima is sakina. Ayn is sakina. Here it has fatha on it. If you wanted to say that this is something is more darker, more deaf. So you already got the scale of af'alu for the defects and for the color. Yes? Akhdar, ahmar. So if you wanted to say it's more dark, it's greener, it's darker in color, then, or more in that defect, then you use ashad or akthar. And then you put masdar after that. So you would say aswad is already black. Aswad means aswadu is on the scale of af'alu, but this it does not mean more black or blacker. All it means black, just because this is a color. A defect would be likewise. So if you wanted to make it more black, even darker black, something, then you have to use ashaddu and then use the masdar after that, which is the verbal noun. So ashaddu sawadan, ashaddu biyadan. Okay, this is how you say aksar or ashad. Those are the words you use, and then to make it understandable. Sometimes the comparison is done against a group, whole of it, or against some parts. So when you use it to compare it with something, then you say min, something. So this particular thing is bigger than that, better than that, lighter than that, more beautiful than that. Okay, so you use min there. Zaydun, for example, you want to say Zayd is more knowledgeable than Amr. Amr is knowledgeable, Zayd is knowledgeable, but Zaydin is more knowledgeable. So then you use a'lamu min, akbaru min, af'alu min. So Zaydun a'lamu min Amrin. So again, when you want to make it the most learned, which is the superlative degree, the ultimate degree that you want to suggest, then you can do it in two ways. Either you make it mudaf against, mudaf to something which is the whole, or you just put al before it. So if you say Zaydun al-a'lamu, Zaydun af'alu scale, you just make it al-af'al. Al-af'alu, al-akbaru, al-a'lamu. Obviously together you say Zaydun al-a'lam. Zayd, the most learned. Al-a'lam, al-akbar, al-something, al-asghar. Okay? The most. Or you could just say a'lamun nas. Mudaf mudaf ilayh. Zayd is a'lamun nas. Okay, so that is how you would make it into elative. So example. Now remember, if you use particle min, it should be singular. A'lamu. You can't use tasniya of a'lamu. A'lamuna, for example, a'lamani, or jama, or even for mudhakkar and you just bring singular masculine form only. So you would say Zayd is more learned than Bakr, so Zaydun a'lamu min Bakrin, which is fine. But even if you wanted to say Aisha is more learned than Zainab, or Zayd is more learned than Aisha, even in those situations you have to use singular masculine form. Aisha tu a'lamu. You do not say feminine word there. Okay? You do not say more knowledgeable, a feminine word. Okay? Aisha tu a'lamu min Zainab. An-nisa'u ad'afu min ar-rijal. So you use the same form, singular af'alu, even for tathniya, even for jama, even for masculine and feminine. Okay, so that is what elative is. So hopefully it should be good and clear now. Let's have a look at qasas. So the people of Ad, Ainadu Ad, their rejection, their stubbornness. سمعت عاد كل ذلك ولكنهم لم يؤمنوا. Ad heard all of this, but they did not believe. ولكنهم, but they لم يؤمنوا. لم is attached to a mudare and it changes it into majzoom, jassive state, and it puts some emphasis on that and it makes it into madi. The translation would be lam yu'minu, they did not believe. They listened to all the arguments and advices of Sayyidina Hud alayhi salam, but the Ad didn't, the people didn't accept. ضاعت فيهم نصيحة هود. The advice of Hud alayhi salam got lost in them, got wasted. ضاعت فيهم حكمة هود. The wisdom of Hud alayhi salam got wasted among them. وقالوا, and they said, يا هود, O Hud, ما عندك دليل ولا بينة. You do not have any dalil, any proofs. ولا بينة, neither an evidence. ولا نترك يا هود آلهتنا. And we would not abandon, O Hud, aliha. Aliha is plural of ilah. So we would not abandon our old ancient gods. Alihatana al-qadima. لقولك الجديد. For your new statement, something new that you come, your novel idea, your innovated statement, something that you just created now, which is completely new and has never been there. This is what they're claiming. أن نترك الآلهة. Should we abandon the gods التي كان يعبدها آباؤنا? Those that our forefathers, our parents, our dads, يعبدها, used to worship, كان يعبدها, used to worship them. لقول قائل, just for the saying of someone, someone said it and we just believe it. After someone has said, a sayer has said a thing, as someone who has passed on a statement, he just said it, or we should just abandon our forefathers? Those who they used to worship, we should abandon them because someone said something? Clearly not. Abadan, abada. Never, ever, ever. Not at all. وَيَا هُودْ, and O Hud, إِنَّكَ لَا تُؤْمِنُ بِآلِهَتِنَا وَلَا تَخَافُهُمْ. O Hud, indeed you are not protected. You do not believe in our gods. لا تؤمنوا بآلهتنا ولا تخافهم, and you do not fear them. You do not believe them and you do not fear them. فإنا لا نؤمن بإلهك ولا نخاف عذابه. So we would not believe in your Lord and we do not fear his punishment, as you do not fear our Lord. وإننا نسمعك كثيرا تذكر العذاب, and indeed we heard you a lot that you mentioned al-adhab, the punishment. فأين هو يا هود? So where is that, Hud? Where is the punishment? ومتى يجيء, and when will it come? قال هود عليه السلام said, إنما العلم عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين. The knowledge of that particular knowledge is about the day of judgment, about the day of punishment, is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وإنما أنا نذير مبين, and I'm only a warner, an open warner. قالت هود, قالت عاد said, فإننا ننتظر ذلك. فإننا ننتظر. So we are waiting ذلك العذاب, for this adhab, this punishment. ونشتاق أن نراه, and we are very covetous. We are longing to see that we see it. وتعجب هود من جرأتهم. جراءتهم plural. Hud alayhi salam got shocked at their audacity. وتأسف هود, and Hud alayhi salam, he showed his remorse. على سفاهتهم, he became upset with their folly, with their stupidity. العذاب, the punishment. وكان عاد ينتظرون المطر كل يوم وينظرون إلى السماء. Ad, they used to wait for rain every day. وينظرون إلى السماء, and they used to look at the sky. فلا يرون قطعة سحاب, but they did not see even a patch of cloud. وكانوا في حاجة إلى المطر, and they were in need of rain. وكان لهم شوق عظيم إلى المطر, and for them is a great yearning, longing for rain. ذات يوم رأوا سحابة تأتي إليهم. One day they saw a piece of cloud تأتي إليهم, coming towards them. ففرحوا جدا, so they became very happy. وصاحوا, and they shouted, هذه سحابة مطر, هذه سحابة مطر, or مطر. This is the cloud of rain. This is a rain cloud, the cloud that would rain. ورقص الناس فرحا. People started dancing. They danced out of joy, out of happiness. ونادى بعضهم بعضا وقالوا, and they called, some of them called someone, the others, and said, سحابة مطر, سحابة مطر, cloud of rain, rain clouds. ولكن هودا, but Hud alayhi salam فهم, understood, أن العذاب قد جاء. Indeed, the punishment of Allah, the punishment has come. قد جاء, just came. وقال لهم هود, Hud alayhi salam said, ليس هذا سحاب رحمة. This is not the cloud of mercy. بل هو ريح فيها عذاب أليم. But this is a wind in which there is a painful punishment. وكان ذلك, and it was like this. فقد هبت ريح شديدة. Indeed, the wind blew very harshly. ما رأى الناس مثلها. People have never seen such wind, something similar to it. وما سمع الناس بمثلها. People didn't even hear about such. وهبت العاصفة تقلع الأشجار. The gust, the wind, the heavy wind blew, and تقلع الأشجار was derooting the trees. وتهدم البيوت, and was demolishing the houses. وتحمل الدواب, and was carrying and throwing the animals, even the cows and donkeys, horses were being lifted and thrown. وترميها إلى مكان بعيد, and they were thrown or dropped at far places. وطارت رمال الصحراء, and the dust of the desert flew, was just going up and up in the air everywhere. It was dusty. وأظلمت الدنيا فلا يرى الإنسان شيئا. The world became dark. فلا يرى الإنسان شيئا, so human could not see anything. ودخلهم الرعب, so the awe, the fear got into their heart. فدخلوا بيوتهم, they got very scared, frightened. فدخلوا بيوتهم, they entered their houses. وأغلقوا أبوابها, they closed the doors. وأعتنق الأطفال بالأمهات, the children, the babies, embraced their moms, they hugged their moms. وأعتنق الناس بالجدران, and people, they embraced, they got attached to the walls. ودخل الناس الحجرات, people entered their rooms. الأطفال يبكون, children were crying. والناس يصحن, and the moms, the ladies were shouting. والرجال يدعون, men were calling. ويستغيثون, calling for help. وكأن قائلا يقول, as though the sayer is saying, لا عاصم اليوم من أمر الله, there's no protection from today from Allah's decree, Allah's punishment. وكان ذلك 7 ليال و8 أيام, and it was for 7 nights and 8 days. ومات القوم, and people died. وكانوا كأشجار النخيل, they were like the trunks of a tree, date tree, the tree or the trunk of date palm tree. سقطت على الأرض, it has fallen down on the ground, on the earth. وكان منظرا غريبا جدا, the sight was strange, very strange. الناس أموات, people were dead. يأكلهم الطير, the birds were eating them. والبيوت خراب, the houses were empty. يسكنها البوم, the owls were living in there. ونجا هود والمؤمنون بإيمانهم, Hud alayhi salam and the believers were saved through their faith, because of their faith. وهلكت عاد بكفرها وعنادها, and the Ad, the people of Ad, they were destroyed, they were killed because of their kufr, their rejection, and their inad, their stubbornness. ألا, indeed, beware. إن عادا كفروا ربهم. Indeed, Ad, they rejected, they disbelieved in their Lord. ألا بعدا لعاد قوم هود. Woe be to Ad, the people of Hud. May Allah save us all from all the calamities and trials and all the punishment of this world and the world hereafter. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.